Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Veta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Veta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Veta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Veta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we're reading from Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, chapter 3, entitled The External Reasons for Lord Chaitanya's Appearance, verses 99 to 102. Is it up on the screen? Yes. Okay. So I'll just read the first 3 verses and we can recite text 102 together. Apane Shri Krishna yadi karen avatar, apane achari bhakti karen aprachar. Advaita Acharya thought, if Shri Krishna were to appear as an incarnation, he himself could preach devotion by his personal example. Text 100. Nama vinu kali kale dharma nahi ar, kali kale kaichana habe Krishna avatar. In this age of Kali, there is no religion other than the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. But how in this age will the Lord appear as an incarnation? Text 101. Shura Aradan Nirantar Sadenya Karibani Vedan. I shall worship Krishna in a purified state of mind. I shall constantly petition him in humbleness. So text 102 we can recite together. I'll go word by word and then we can go line by line. Aniya Krishner Karon Kirtana Sanchar Tabe Se Advaita Nam Safala Amar Aniya Krishnere Karon Kirtana Sanchar Tabe Se Advaita Nama Safala Amar Aniya Krishnere Karon Kirtana Sanchar Tabe Se Advaita Nam Safala Amar Aniya Krishnere Karon Kirtana Sanchar Tabe Se Advaita Nam Safala Amar Ladies? Aniya, bringing. Krishner, Lord Krishna. Karon, I make. Kirtan, chanting of the holy name. Sanchar, advent. Tabe, then. Say, this. Advaita, non-dual. Nama, name. Safala, fulfilled. Amar, my. Translation. My name, Advaita, will be fitting if I am able to induce Krishna to inaugurate the movement of the chanting of the holy name. Purport. The non-dualist Mayavadi philosopher who falsely believes that he is non-different from the Lord is unable to call him like Advaita Prabhu. Advaita Prabhu is non-different from the Lord, yet in his relationship with the Lord, he does not merge with him, but eternally renders service unto him as a plenary portion. This is inconceivable for Mayavadis because they think in terms of mundane sense perception and therefore think that non-dualism necessitates losing one's separate identity. It is clear from this verse, however, that Advaita Prabhu, although retaining his separate identity, is non-different from the Lord. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu preached the philosophy of inconceivable, simultaneous oneness with the Lord and difference from him. Conceivable dualism and monism are conceptions of the imperfect senses, which are unable to reach the transcendence, because the transcendence is beyond the conception of limited potency. The actions of Sri Advaita Prabhu, however, give tangible proof of inconceivable non-dualism. One who therefore surrenders unto Sri Advaita Prabhu
can easily follow the philosophy of inconceivable simultaneous dualism and monism. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Śrī Caitanya-manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchatattvat Makam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Ivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagar Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prestali Bi Sevyamano Smarami Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Kadambakhanana Swaminiti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jaileta Swaminiti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasatyadeshatarine. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak on the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas here and the senior devotees, and I pray that I can say something that is pleasing to Krishna and the devotees. So we're reading Caitanya-caritāmṛta Ādi-līlā chapter 3, and this is a very important part of Caitanya-caritāmṛta because these two chapters, chapter 3 and 4, describe the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya appearing and the internal reasons for Lord Chaitanya appearing. And I think it's so fitting because we just celebrated this most auspicious appearance day of Lord Chaitanya just 2 days ago. And here we can see how Lord Chaitanya came about. What was the reason, or one of the reasons for him coming? So the first chapter of Caitanya-caritāmṛta has these first 14 verses, which are expanded upon in greater detail in the first 7 chapters. So chapter 3 expands on this verse from chapter 1. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. So this verse is describing the external reasons of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, which is to give Krishna consciousness. And chapter 3 delves into this topic very deeply. And we're at the point where Advaita Acharya is mentioned and his how he noticed that the world was engaged fully in material enjoyment, whether it was virtuously or sinfully. That means piety, material piety and impiety. He's considering it to be both almost like sinful activity. So, because they're both absent of Krishna consciousness, of devotional service to Krishna. So, Advaita Acharya really wanted everyone to take up the process of devotional service again because it had been forgotten. And therefore he is thinking now in these verses coming up about how he can induce the Lord to come. So, who is Advaita Acharya? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that it's actually impossible to describe the glories of Advaita Acharya. We can try and say something now, but in chapter 6, there's a whole chapter called The Glories of Advaita Acharya, and he starts saying, who can describe the unlimited glories of Advaita Acharya? I write here as much as I have known from great authorities. Your glories are as fathomless as millions of oceans and seas. Speaking of its measure is a great offense indeed. Actually, this was after he had already described the glories in great detail, and then he's just saying at the end, I've said what I can say, but there's so much more. So Advaita Acharya is the person who has changed the trajectory of the whole world, of everybody's lives, by inducing Lord Chaitanya to come. In the first chapter of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, there's 2 verses describing Advaita Acharya. Mahavishnu Jagatkarta Mayayaya Srijatyada Tasyavatara Evayam Advaitacharya Ishvara. Lord Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world through the actions of Maya. Advaitam Harinadvaitad Acharyam Bhakti Samsanat Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaitacharyam Ashraye. Because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. Therefore, I take shelter of him. So these 2 verses introduce Advaita Acharya, and then chapter 6 goes on to expand on these verses. So Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu. The same Mahavishnu creates all the universes, but he's in the role of a devotee. And it's so interesting how in this verse that we're reading, it says that Advaita Acharya, who is God, actually takes on the position of a servant of God, a devotee of God. And yet, the Mayavadis who are not God, they think they're God. So it's a bit ironic in that way, that they act like God, but they're actually not God. But someone who is God is intentionally avoiding the position of being God. And in chapter 6 of Ādi-līlā, it's further described just exactly why Advaita Acharya prefers to be a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The whole chapter is describing all the various servants of Krishna in Krishna's pastimes, of the glories of Nanda Maharaj, who's the most exalted personality, that he has Krishna as his son. But he will choose to ignore the fact that Krishna is God and want to just be his servant, to serve him in that parental affection. And then it speaks about other residents of Vrindavan, Krishna's friends like Sridham, who get to climb on him and play sports with him. But they all choose to keep that relationship of servitude, of serving Krishna. And then there's a mention of the gopis of Vrindavan, and the most exalted gopi, Srimati Radharani, who will still choose to be a servant. And then Lord Balaram, who we know expands into everything in this material world, everything in the spiritual world, everything in the material world, just to serve Krishna. Ananta Shesh, who's the bed of the Lord. So all these different devotees, some of whom are actually Krishna, are choosing to be his servant. So that is Advaita Acharya's logic, that he wants to be the servant of Krishna. And it is said in chapter 6, Krishna samya nahetanra madhurya svadan, bhakta bhave karetanra madhurya charvan. The sweetness of Lord Krishna is not to be tasted by those who consider themselves equal to Krishna. It is to be tasted only through the sentiment of servitude. So Advaita Acharya is actually senior to Lord Chaitanya. He is the god brother of Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya's guru is Ishvara Puri, and Advaita Acharya is his god brother, and they're both initiated by Madhavendra Puri. So Lord Chaitanya had natural respect for him, but still, didn't want this respect. He wanted to be a servant. He was relishing the joy of being a servant of Krishna. So coming up, we have, like later in this chapter, just a few verses away, it's described how Advaita Acharya actually managed to cause the Lord's appearance. And he was thinking, how can I make the Lord appear? And then he remembered this verse from the Gautamiya Tantra. Tulasi dala matrena jalasya chulukena va vikrinete svam atmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsala. Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate toward his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers him merely a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. Advaita Acharya considered the meaning of the verse in this way. Not finding any way to repay the debt he owes to one who offers him a tulsi leaf and water, Lord Krishna thinks, there is no wealth in my possession that is equal to a tulsi leaf and water. Thus the Lord liquidates the debt by offering himself to the devotee. Considering in this way, the Acharya began worshipping the Lord. Thinking of the lotus feet of Krishna, he constantly offered tulsi buds in water from the Ganges. He appealed to Sri Krishna with loud calls and thus made it possible for Krishna to appear. Therefore, the principal reason for Sri Chaitanya's descent is this appeal by Advaita Acharya. The Lord, the protector of religion, appears by the desire of his devotee. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, this is nicely described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Sri Advaita Acharya would enthusiastically worship Krishna with tulsi manjaris and water from the Ganga. He loudly called for Krishna in great spiritual ecstasy. The sound vibration pierced the covering of the universe and was heard in the Vaikuntha planets. And the purport by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu was a plenary incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, by his great endeavor and influence, his chanting of Krishna's names crossed beyond the enjoying realm and sensual perception of the material world and echoed in the supreme abode of Vishnu, the transcendental Vaikuntha lokas, which are composed of pure goodness. Within this universe, there are 14 planetary systems, among which Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka are situated at the top of the three worlds. Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu engaged in Lord Hari's service by chanting the names of Krishna, which crossed beyond these planets born of the material modes of nature and entered into the transcendental realm of Vaikuntha, which is free from all anxiety. On hearing Advaita Prabhu's cries of love, Lord Krishna personally appeared, for he is controlled by the love of his devotees. There is no comparison to his devotional service in the entire universe. So, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says in the purport, for all these reasons, Sri Advaita Prabhu is the first and foremost of the Vaishnavas. He is famous as the topmost devotee in the entire universe. In this world, there is no devotee engaged in the service of Hari like him. He is personally Vishnu Tattva, and as an Acharya, he is an incarnation of a devotee and as good as Hari. So, his mission was to spread Krishna consciousness in the mood of a servant, and he wanted to share the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And even though it was the etiquette for Lord Chaitanya to worship him, he didn't want this etiquette to be followed. He wanted Lord Chaitanya himself to consider him his subordinate. So he devised a plan to make Lord Chaitanya angry and to make him chastise him. So he knew that the one thing Lord Chaitanya despised the most was Mayavadi philosophy. So what he did was he intentionally preached that jnana is superior to bhakti, and in order to agitate Lord Chaitanya. And at that point, Lord Chaitanya had just been to the house of a sannyasi who was keeping a wife and who had offered him wine. So Lord Chaitanya was already very upset by that experience. And then when he heard this, Advaita Acharya was preaching Mayavad philosophy, it pushed him over the edge. And then he went up, he actually took Advaita Acharya, threw him on the ground, and he was beating him up. And Advaita Acharya's wife, Sita Thakurani, was panicking. She was saying, "Oh, my lord, he's going to die. Please stop, please stop." She was screaming, "He's old. What will happen if he dies?" And Advaita Acharya was relishing it. He was blissfully receiving the chastisement that we all want to avoid generally in life. But Advaita Acharya was relishing it, and he finally received what he had desired, which was the shelter of Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. And everyone was crying. Everyone who was watching this whole incident cried. And Lord Chaitanya said, "I will bestow mercy on any living entity, even an ant, insect, animal, or bird, who takes shelter of you for even a moment, even if that living entity commits hundreds of offenses against me." So this is how exalted Advaita Acharya is. And Advaita Acharya said, "If one worships me but does not accept you, then may his devotion to me annihilate him. One who does not worship your lotus feet and accept you as the Supreme Lord is not dear to me. Anyone who worships you is my life and soul. I cannot tolerate a person who disregards you." So that's the mood of exalted devotees, that they all want Krishna to be glorified, even if they themselves are an incarnation of Krishna. And it's so beautiful to see how Lord Chaitanya is glorifying Advaita Acharya still, even after chastising, but Advaita Acharya is not accepting it. He's saying, "No, if they're devoted to me, then let that annihilate them. They must be devoted to you." And then there's another pastime which is very ecstatic, involving Advaita Acharya and Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Nityananda, this time Lord Nityananda decided to trick Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya wanted to go to Vrindavan, but Lord Nityananda had another idea. So he wanted to take Lord Chaitanya to the home of Advaita Acharya to give him this mercy in Shantipur. So he told some cowherd boys to mislead Lord Chaitanya. And when he asked, because Lord Chaitanya is so ecstatic, when he asked which way to Vrindavan, they should mislead him and point him in the wrong direction. So Advaita Acharya Lord Nityananda arranged that Chandrasekhar Acharya go to Advaita Acharya's home and then go to Navadvip and bring Mother Sachi and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya to Advaita Acharya's place. And then Lord Nityananda tricked him. So when they were going, Lord Chaitanya saw a river and thought it was the Yamuna because he thought he's in Vrindavan. And then suddenly he sees Advaita Acharya there, and he was wondering, "What are you doing in Vrindavan, Acharya?" And then Advaita Acharya says, "Actually, wherever you are, my Lord, that is Vrindavan." So he kind of defeated him. And then Lord Chaitanya realized, like, oh, actually he's not in Vrindavan. He's not on the bank of the Yamuna, he's on the bank of the Ganges. So, but it's actually said that this part of the river was the Yamuna on one side and the Ganges on the other side. So technically, they hadn't actually been dishonest with Lord Chaitanya, because there was the Yamuna river in one sense. And then Lord Chaitanya said, "Nityananda has cheated me. He has brought me to the bank of the Ganges and told me it's the Yamuna." And then that's when they explained, actually, it is the Yamuna. So then Advaita Acharya said, "Please come over to my home and I can serve you prasadam." And now he told him that it wouldn't be a big feast. It's just a small amount, and Lord Chaitanya is a very strict sannyasi, so he accepted. But when he arrived at Advaita Acharya's house, it was mountains of prasadam. There's descriptions of everything. And Advaita Acharya's logic was that he had been fasting for 3 days. So now it's time for him to take some grain. And he told him it's just 1 palmful of rice. But actually, it ended up being all kinds of cooked vegetables, all kinds of salads, many types of rice, all sweets, just like our Raj Bhoga is small in comparison to that. It's just unlimited varieties of cooked items for Lord Chaitanya. And then there was coconut pulp mixed with curd, rock candy, sweet and sour sauces, 5 or 6 kinds of sour preparations, different leafy vegetable preparations, soft cakes made with moong dal, ripe bananas, urad dal, sweetmeats with condensed milk and rice cakes. So Lord Chaitanya said, it is not proper for a sannyasi to receive to eat so much food. How will he control his senses? And then he says, it is not my duty to eat so much. But then Advaita Acharya was saying that actually Lord Jagannath eats so many offerings per day, and you're not different from Lord Jagannath. So there's no problem. You can accept. And then Nityananda Prabhu, on the other hand, has this very unique relationship with Advaita Acharya. So he was saying, actually, this is too little. I've been fasting for 3 days, and I thought I'm going to break my fast today, but it seems I won't be breaking my fast because all of this will not even fill half my belly. And so then Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu had this kind of banter, this transcendental ecstatic banter, which I don't even understand. And it's even said, like, who can understand these conversations between Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya? But Advaita Acharya chastises him and says, you are a mendicant traveling on pilgrimage. Sometimes you eat fruits and roots, and sometimes you simply go on fasting. I am a poor Brahmana, and you have come to my home. Please be satisfied with whatever little food you have received, and give up your greedy mentality. And Lord Nityananda said, you have invited me, therefore you must supply as much as I want to eat. So then Advaita Acharya chastises him. You are a reject Paramahamsa, and you have accepted the renounced order of life just to fill up your belly. I can understand that your business is to give trouble to the Brahmanas. And then he accused him, saying, you can eat 10 to 20 manas of rice. I am a poor Brahmana. How shall I get so much rice? I forgot the exact quantity a mana is, but I don't know if it's like 10 kgs. It's a large quantity. Like 4 kgs. No, I think it's like more. But it's a very, very large quantity of rice. And then Nityananda just starts throwing the rice. Like, no, I'm not having. He's like rejecting the rice. I have not taken the least of it. Take it away. And then he threw it on Advaita Acharya, and those grains that touched Advaita Acharya's body made him so ecstatic because he had received the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And that's how humble Advaita Acharya is, that he himself is God. And Nityananda is God. Lord Chaitanya is God, but he's just ecstatic to receive their mercy. And then everybody heard that the Lord had come to Shantipur. So then everybody came to Advaita Acharya's home and had a big kirtan. And Advaita Acharya said, my dear friends, what shall I say? Today I have received the highest transcendental pleasure. After many, many days, Lord Krishna is in my house. Many days you escaped me by bluffing. Now I have you in my home, and I will keep you bound up. So it's very special, ecstatic pastime. Actually, in Shantipur, they have this deity they have 3 deities of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and Advaita Acharya sitting there to enact this pastime of the prasadam, of them eating together. And also in Shantipur is the famous Shantipur festival, which is another blessing given to us by Advaita Acharya. We just celebrated the disappearance day of Srila Madhavendra Puri on Monday, I think it was. Yeah, on Monday. And in order to honor Madhavendra Puri, Advaita Acharya celebrated this big festival in Shantipur where he was distributing khichdi to everyone. And Lord Chaitanya was so happy with that festival that he said, whoever comes here and takes prasadam at this festival will get Krishna Prema in this lifetime. 30 kgs of rice. You can eat 10 or 20 manas. So that's 300 to 600 kgs of rice is Lord Nityananda's capacity. Actually, his capacity is unlimited. Yeah, 10 or 20 Sunday feasts just for Lord Nityananda. In Shantipur, they have this ecstatic festival, which is actually going on up until today. It's been carrying on since that time to honor Srila Madhavendra Puri. And I was fortunate last year that I got to attend it and actually see the unlimited masses of people that come to this festival now to get this khichdi and to get love of God at the end of this life. And it was amazing to see, firstly, the deity, those three deities sitting there. And I was remembering this pastime. And then the temple of Madhavendra Puri that they have. And then so many people in the line waiting to take prasadam. And it just didn't look like it was going to end. The line kept going on. And I thought, will we ever make it to the front of the line? Like, will we ever get there? Will we ever take prasadam? But then I was reflecting that it's actually patience. You know, to get love of Godhead, we need patience. We cannot rush anything. So this is a small price to pay. It's a small amount of time to just wait in a line to get the special blessing of Lord Chaitanya and Advaita Acharya. So if anyone wants, please go next year to this ecstatic festival and just experience the bliss of it. But this is a blessing of Advaita Acharya that he created such an opportunity for all of us. That's continuing today. There's also Advaita Acharya's birth story from the Bhakti Ratnakar by Narahari Chakravarti Thakur. This I found very interesting. When Lord Advaita became manifested in this world, Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, Sachi Devi, and Jagannath Mishra were also manifest. To the living entities, Lord Advaita was merciful without end. On the pretext of taking birth there, he made the land of Bengal fortunate. In Bengal, near Śrī Hatta, is the village of Nabagram. There, Kuvera Pandit, the son of Nrsimha Pandit, resided. Very fortunate, Kuvera Pandit walked on the path of devotional service. He thought only of Lord Krishna's lotus feet and nothing else. His saintly wife, Naba Devi, was devoted to her husband. These are the parents of Advaita Acharya. She was worshipped by the whole world. She became Advaita's mother. The couple came to live at Shantipur on the bank of the Ganga. They were always absorbed in talking about Krishna. One day, after hearing a Vaishnava blasphemed, Sri Kuvera and Naba decided to give up their lives. Seeing them on the verge of dying, by the Lord's wish, a fortunate soul pacified them. Feeling sad, they lay down and fell asleep. In a dream, they saw a great wonder. They saw an effulgent, handsome man, his form defeating the splendor of molten gold. Grasping another man's hands, the handsome man said sweetly, "To relieve the conditioned souls of the sorrow, please quickly descend to the earth. You will attract me there. I will have no power to stay here. Accompanied by my elder brother, quickly I will be manifest there." So this is in the dream of Advaita Acharya's parents. They saw Lord Chaitanya and speaking to Advaita Acharya and telling him to come so that he can call him. Hearing these words, the second person became joyful at heart as Advaita Acharya. Then, at an auspicious moment, he entered Naba Devi's womb. Watching all this, the Brahman Kuvera was filled with bliss. His dream broke and his heart became wild. That learned Brahman thought, manifesting the form of a guru, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will become manifest in this world. So Advaita Acharya is manifesting the form of a guru, the guru of the world. Contemplating this dream, the Brahman and his wife were overwhelmed. They had no power to check the tears that flowed from their eyes. From that day, Naba was pregnant. She returned to Navagram, where she stayed. When Advaita Acharya was manifest, the whole world became blissful at heart. Suddenly, a voice declared, "Now Sri Krishna Chaitanya will be manifest on this earth. He will bring Nityananda Ram and will enjoy pastimes with his associates. He will break to pieces the sorrow of the living entities. From house to house, he will preach bhakti and prema. He will make the ocean of the bliss of Sankirtan overflow its shores. This Kali Yuga is so fortunate. No one will be cheated of that bliss of Sankirtan." Hearing this, everyone became joyful. Kuvera Pandit's home became an abode of great auspiciousness. And Advaita Acharya, not only did he call the Lord himself to this world to give all of us benediction, but he also had 6 children. 3 of them were devotees and 3 of them were not. It's interesting to note that Achyutananda, one of his children, was so fixed on Lord Chaitanya being the Supreme Lord that actually he disagreed with Advaita Acharya when he told him that Keshava Bharati is the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. He said, "No, how can anyone be the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya is the spiritual master of the whole world." And Advaita Acharya was very happy about his son's conviction and faith and knowledge of Lord Chaitanya's truth. And then there was Krishna Mishra, who it is said that Lord Chaitanya sat in his heart always. And then there was Sri Gopal, who danced very ecstatically in front of the Lord during the Gundicha Marjana and fainted and lost consciousness. And Advaita Acharya chanted Nishingadev prayers for him, nothing happened. He chanted all kinds of other mantras, nothing happened. It was only when Lord Chaitanya put his hand on his chest and said, "Wake up, Gopal, and chant the holy names," then he woke up ecstatically. So he has many children and very exalted devotees also. And I just want to read, to end, I want to read this Advaitastikam by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Roaring like a lion and thundering like a monsoon cloud, he prays day and night, "O Krishna, O Lord of Radhika." He smears the Saligram Shila with the paste of sandalwood and musk and offers arti with incense and lamp. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. He worships the Saligram Shila with water of the Ganga mixed with tulsi manjaris and leaves. Tears of love incessantly flow from his eyes as he meditates upon Krishna and sings his glories. He prays to the Supreme Lord, who is an ocean of mercy, to descend to this world. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. Again and again, he loudly sings the name of Krishna, praying to him, "O my Lord, deliverer of the universe, please manifest your exceedingly merciful 2-armed form in my vision. Please award me the proper vision." I meditate upon the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. Due to the prayers of Sri Advaita Acharya, Sri Chaitanya appeared in the house of Jagannath Mishra in the womb of Mother Sachi. In order to enjoy the association of Sri Advaita, Sri Chaitanya sang the holy names of the Lord congregationally and danced with the devotees. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. The lotus feet of Sri Advaita are the goal of my knowledge and the object of my meditation. I always keep the dust of his lotus feet on my head. O my Lord, please bestow devotional service upon this unworthy soul and protect him. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. Sri Advaita, the Lord of Sita Devi, is the bestower of all benedictions and perfections. And he is the Lord of my life. That most merciful Lord immediately bestows bhakti upon those who meditate exclusively upon his lotus feet. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. All glories to Sri Advaita, along with Sri Chaitanya and the most merciful Nityananda Prabhu. They are all one, but in 3 different forms, depicting the different phases of life, like adolescence, etc. Sri Advaita roars and thunders in order to deliver the living entities by giving them transcendental knowledge and pure devotional service. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the Lord of Sita Devi. He bestows loving devotional service upon the lowly, mean, blasphemous, and other such fallen people. The bestower of everything, Śrī Advaita, the Lord of Sita Devi, is the leader of Shantipur. He frees one from the bondage of material attachments, bad association, fruitive activities, and mystic yoga. I meditate upon the lotus feet of Śrī Advaita-acharya, the Lord of Sita Devi. Śrī Advaita-acharya Prabhu ki jai. So I'll end there. If anyone has any comments, quick questions.
I'll make it a quick comment. I was just, thank you for the nice class, talking about the glories of Advaita Prabhu. And I was thinking about this pastime in the Bhagavatam, when the Brahmana is losing all of his children, and Arjuna is taking the blame for it. And then even Arjuna can't recover his children. So Arjuna's like, okay, and now I'm going to commit suicide. Krishna's like, okay, hold up, I've got a plan here. So he takes Arjuna, penetrates through all the coverings of the material universe, and Arjuna experiences, goes through the Brahmajyoti and into Mahavishnu Loka. And so he's taking darshan of Mahavishnu and offering his respects. And Mahavishnu is saying, actually, I was the one who took these children just because I wanted to see Krishna. So it's such an amazing thing that Mahavishnu, in one sense, is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's a plenary expansion of an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, directly Vishnu Tattva, but simultaneously Mahavishnu is wanting to take darshan of Krishna. So it's such a beautiful thing that Mahavishnu and Sadashiva are both coming together in one form as Advaitacharya to experience the mellows of what Lord Chaitanya is giving, which is the first verse you were talking about, Anarpite Chiracharam. That verse that is giving the most elevated mellow devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. It was ringing in my head. It's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that comment. Yeah, I really love that pastime, and it's so interesting how it's like they went through the coverings of the universe just so Mahavishnu can see Krishna, and then now in Chaitanya Yuga, he's calling, roaring through the coverings of the universe to call Lord Chaitanya to see him. It's like that eagerness is there.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. I remember maybe 2012 or 13 with His Holiness Kadambakana Maharaj. Today we are celebrating his Tirubhava, Disappearance Day. He brought us to Bangladesh, and actually this is where you can see the appearance place, the birthplace of Advaita Acharya. So I remember we had to go through. It was not easy to reach this place. We had to cross 2-3 rivers and travel a lot, and it was kind of some very distant place towards the end of Bangladesh. And Maharaj, he was commenting that just see Advaita Acharya, this is his positions. He is kind of in between the material and the spiritual world. So he's always choosing these places to appear. And we had very powerful kirtan, and Maharaj was also sharing the pastime that his mother wanted to go all the way to Ganges to take bath. Ganges is quite far from this place. So Advaita Acharya said, no, you don't have to go anywhere. And he just called Ganges and all the sacred rivers to come and to enter the local river, which is very close to this place. And actually his mother could every day go and take bath in Ganges, like that. And we slept there. It was funny, there were rats, they tried to eat our ears. And that next morning when we got up and someone stole the shoes of Kadambakana Maharaj. So devotees, they had to go and buy new shoes for him. It was serious pastime. Just memories when you were
Yeah.
talking about Advaita Acharya and his
Oh yeah,
birthplace.
I wish I could be. I wish I could have gone. The FOMO. We were having FOMO. Yeah, it's interesting you're mentioning about where his birthplace is, because even when we went to Shesha Shai with Kadambakanana Maharaj, it's also like on the outskirts of Vrindavan, and it's said to be the place of Mahavishnu. So it's like, and then he was talking about how Advaita Acharya also lives like on the outskirts, and it's always just between the material and spiritual worlds. That's interesting. Thank you so much. Krantaraj, Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande.